Hi, Deltarune has some cool weapons that I made a video about, and yeah, that means I could do like the. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I was not interested in making this video at first. LMAO. See, I'm weird, possibly autistic, but that's undiagnosed. And I just kind of tend to make stuff, lists, spreadsheets, rosters, designs. If I have a group of things that I can organize, I tend to do that. Weapons kind of like speak to me in that way, making weapons, designing weapons, putting them like all in a row and being able to see them all at once. That's really fun for me. It tickles my brain in a way that I very much enjoy. So when you give me a list of like 50 weapons, all with unique designs and inspirations and descriptions, that's just the right cocktail of things that makes my brain very happy. Armors don't really speak to me that way. Most of the armors are simple, like, items that, I don't know, it doesn't really scratch my brain in the same way, you see? But when I see a demand, I acknowledge the demand. The people want armors. So if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it my way. And if there's one thing I enjoy more than doing weapons, it's character design. So what we're going to do, the fun gang here will be hanging out with us, and we're going to be playing a little bit of dress up with them. I'll be going armor by armor, showing off how each character would wear each piece of armor on their person. Sometimes this will be supported by the game, sometimes it'll just be where I personally want it to be, or thought would look the most interesting, or fit the character, just to keep me sane.
Shouldn't we be in a dark world for this?
We should, but first, Chris has 2 pieces of armor that they can wear in the light world. We'll cover the second of which later, but the first one is one that'll be familiar if you played Undertale, a simple bandage. Unlike in Undertale, in its description it's mentioned that it has cartoon characters on it, which means on my design it has a very small shape that's supposed to be icy, and another blobby shape that's probably some other character. Frisk, in fan art at least, usually has a bandage on their nose or face, which at first I wanted to avoid for Chris, but then I realized that the only other place I could put it that it was visible was like on their hands, and that felt boring to me, so on the nose it goes. Quick and easy, simple and clean. Now, let's hop into a dark world and begin our journey through Deltarune's armors. So this is a dark world. Neat. The amber card is described as a thin, square charm in that it sticks to you, which, it's a sticky note, gang. Holy shit, it's a sticky note. This was the first weapon I tackled, so each character has a very different location for where they equip the card. Chris just puts it on their little pauldron, Susie puts it on her belt buckle, and Rouse puts it on his forehead, at Chris's suggestion. And Noelle... When the fuck did you get here? She mentions it's like a name tag, so that's where she puts it. Seriously, how the fuck, when did you get here? They also all draw something a little different, too. Chris doodles a little knife, Susie just writes the word ass, very mature Susie. Ralsei drew a little butterfly at my roommate's request, and Noelle draws a widow snowflake. The dice brace is, shocker, a bracelet made of dice, specifically one of those with like spinnable words that you'd make with little charms. Each character has a unique little set of symbols or words. Unfortunately, most of the armors in DR tend to be like bracelets and stuff for whatever reason, so we're going to be seeing a lot of wrists today. The Iron Shackle is one of the very few armors in the game that actually just has a straight up overworld sprite. Shocker, it looks like an iron shackle with a chain on it. In the light world, I like to imagine this is just like a belt chain or something. Chris and Noelle both wear them on their wrists. Susie does too, but she wraps the chains around her arm because she's just that fucking cool. Or I'll say, why is it on your leg? What aren't you telling us? Hey, we can see this one too. Jevil himself is wearing it, or is it a part of him? So we can see that it's literally just a fucking J. Oh, wow, okay. If I was forward thinking in the slightest, I would have had the characters facing the other way so that this tail actually looked like a J. Unfortunately, I am not. so it must look like a Yaj. This is also the first of our 3 Super Boss armors, so I'll go ahead and point out that each of them actually correspond to one of our characters through an element of their character design. Susie has a tail, Devil's Knife is her weapon, so she gets Devil's Tail. Since we have all the armors here, let's min-max. According to I'm a Fun You Dork on this Reddit post, the best possible setup is to have all 3 of them wear an Amber card, have Chris wear the Iron Shackle, have Susie wear a Dice Brace. Wait, this is for the Jewel fight. Swap out Susie's Amber card with the Devil's Tail, and there we go, that's the stuff. And have Ralsei wear the White Ribbon. Oh, fuck, oh, shit. Get off the screen, get her off the screen! Just like it says in the description, it's a bracelet made of green wires and glowing lights, similar to Christmas ones according to Noel. Since every character mentions it's tangled as hell, this bracelet becomes an utter mess visually. This is the first one that actually gave me a bit of trouble. The only hint that this item description gives us is that it's chain armor and that Ralsei gets excited about getting a letter. Aww. So I figured chaining together the mail in a very literal way felt natural to me. Boom! A bunch of letters literally chained together. This big mail in the center is based loosely on the old Gmail logo with a stamp in the center with a Q in the style of the @ symbol. Honestly, I think this might be my favorite design in the video. I'm really proud of it. Ah, Spamton, Spamton, Spamton. This cheeky little shit is gonna crop up a number of times as we build our little armor collection here, so be excited for that. This first one is supposedly a bow tie that Spamton sold back in the day, likely even ones that he wore himself as the cheeky-ass car salesman he is. Often when people draw this old version of Spamton, they draw him in the same suit as Tenna, even down to the tie, but considering we have a bow tie that was supposedly his, I think dripping him out in that makes a little more sense. Ultimately, that's why I made this big shot bow tie yellow, to still fit in that, like, palette to make Tenna and Spamton the divorcee husbands that they absolutely are, matching fits and all. It's so funny to me that this means 3 different characters across both games have worn this fit. That's fun. Noel, why did you put in your hair, you weirdo? That's a bow tie. One of Noel's default pieces of equipment. It's also one of the only ones that we have a detailed design for coming from the Spamton suit. That shit is not silver, Toby. Still, it works well enough for its Light World form as the only piece of armor that becomes a Light World item, specifically for the purpose of scaring the shit out of Noel. If you back out of the weird route during the couch scene, it's implied that Noel slaps Chris. Poor thing. Anyway, when translating it to the Dark World, it becomes the silver that the name initially implies, and the gold bits on the watch become more thematic snow blue colors. And it's mentioned in its description that it's stuck before 12:30 noon. 12:30 noon is 12:30, but why in the world would they need to state that it's stuck before? Oh. The only armor in the game that only Chris can equip. It is like an actual full mannequin though. Fuck it, full Undertale bit, it just sits on their head. It's shitty and it's frayed and it's fucked up and hacked together, whatever, painted with whatever pink and yellow fabrics that Spamton could get his hands on. It's apparently too messed up for Susie, okay girl, but the others wear it the same way they wear the other bow tie. If you want to know how they would wear them in this scenario where you have 2 of them, then here you go. They be Spammy E. Spamton's glasses. Nothing too special here other than to note that Spamton's items both go on Ralsei in the same way that Jewel's went on Susie. Jewel and Susie both have tails, and Ralsei and Spamton both have glasses. Ralsei implies that he wears both, but I find that stupid, so he only wears Steelmaker here. A brooch engraved with Queen's face, so shocker, it looks like they're just wearing Queen's face. Chris has had to go on their mantle because of their goofy ass armor, and I put it on Ralsei's scarf because it was cute. Nothing special otherwise, it's simply just Queen's face. We've reached the end of chapter 2, so let's begin min-maxing once again. Keeping Devil's Tail on Susie for thematic and stat purposes, which leaves her either with the chainmail or the royal pin. Royal pin gives magic, so that's what she gets, I suppose. Ralsei wears the Dealmaker, giving him a bunch of extra magic. Like, actually, Dealmaker's the best item in the game. Why? Huh? But it also gives those, like, cool thematic vibes. Objectively speaking, the royal pin is also the best for Ralsei. So Chris is also met with the crossroads of the chainmail and the royal pin, but since Chris doesn't use magic, I'm absolutely giving them the chainmail. And then I guess we use the royal pin again. The queen is too powerful. I guess. Oh, and that's the only chapter we have so far with an actual playable Noelle. But that also means there's not a whole lot of point in min-maxing her. She either one-shots everything or just stays in your party for a little bit. So, here. Her default armors. Chapter 3 only has like 4 armors, and most of them come from the fucking ball game for some reason. So I guess we're going to be playing some Deltarune Gotcha! Referred to as a lodestone token shaped like a snail shell. If you aren't aware, a lodestone is essentially a naturally occurring magnetic mineral, which means now that I'm thinking about it, I probably didn't need to put it on a string, at least for Chris. I could have just had them stick it on their armor. Anyway, lodestones tend to be black with speckles, so that's what this little snail shell looks like. It's implied in the dialogues that yes, Toriel still eats snails, and that Chris may actually fucking enjoy snails themselves. Good for you, Chris. Good for you. That also means in the light world, this may just straight up be an old snail shell, and that's very silly to me.
Look, I punched a hole through a guy!
So it's a gingerbread man cookie cutter. Well, that makes this easy. A giant, heavy-duty, bulletproof tie. How to even wear it. So it's literally just Tenna's tie as an armor piece? Alright, gang, show me how you want to wear it. Alright, Chris, just as a tie. It looks heavy, but being controlled by a little red heart might make that a little easier. 5 out of 10.
Bandana style!
Alright, now we're talking. Like a simple bandana on your head. Seems a little big, but that's to be expected. 9 out of 10.
Like a sash?
Hey, that works. Keeps it out of your way. 5 out of 10.
Look, I'm a gift!
Yeah, sure, Noelle, sure. 3, no. 2 out of 10. My roommate suggested that this is just a shitty Six Flags Batman cape, and that fucking kills me. Chris showing up to church in their button up that just looks like they're wearing a fucking Batman cape. I like the orange from the Shadow Mantle holder to be like visual in some way, so that's why I gave it the underside color, kind of like Robin's cape. And I think it'd be neat if Eram's mouth was on the back too. Also, Chris's mantle is taken off for the Shadow Mantle simply because I think it looks neat. Noelle, why aren't you wearing one? What the fuck is wrong with you?
It's for someone taller?
What? Wrapping up chapter 3, let's keep min-maxing. Objectively speaking, during the night fight, Susie is the best to wear the Shadow Mantle since he's the tankiest and can actually deal a decent amount of damage. However, for thematic purposes, it goes on Chris. All the secret boss armors in one place. Tickles my brain in just the right way. The Tenatai gives a massive 5 defense, but since it also greatly decreases magic, that puts Chris in the best position to make the best of it. Other than that, though, the only armor piece even worth considering is the Ginger Guard. And the Royal Pin still increases magic, so damn. Chapter 4 also only has like 4 armors, 2 of which are literally the same item split across 2 different Dark Worlds, and one of which being very secret, so oops, we've got other things to worry about this chapter, I suppose. It's a cookie with a hole in it. I put it on their bicep instead of on their wrists because I was steadily going insane because of all the bracers and bracelets and all that junk. Since these 2 are basically the same item, just colored differently, I'm covering them together. They're stained with amber/red essence. So, wait, are they like the juice spoons, or are they like the leftover cup rings? Silver little armlets that are colored differently depending on whether or not it increases magic or attack. I miss Muffet. It's a little gold spider, probably a hair clip or something, but I also like the idea that it's a literal, actual living spider. It's creepy and it's crawly. It likes to hang on its friends. Hey, we're finally at the ribbons. Susie, take 5. I imagine that this crinkly white ribbon is literally just like a paper ribbon. So you scale that up and you get a cute ribbon for your guy to wear. Very sweet. In my head, this one's like one of those glossy mini ribbons that sort of just clip into your hair, even if it gets like scaled up massively in the Dark World. Now, I'll just say, I don't usually get cuteness aggression. I tend to just get affectionate when something is cute to me. I love these little guys so much, and now they cuddle up next to me and bury themselves in my hair and warm my heart. But here, I want to take this Ralse design and smush him like a cake. He's so soft and cute. I want to shove him in a blender. The first fusion item we're hitting, we'll get to the other 3 later, and this is the only item in the game where it notes that the character's hair needs to change in order to wear it. Except Ralse, who wears them around his horns. That means Chris has to put their hair up. Chose this like fountain, sapling, apple shape, since that's something Chris tends to have anyway. Noelle, however, gets the full pigtails, like when she was a kid. This one is said to be a cheer bow, like how cheerleaders wear. So there, I made it 2 different shades of blue because it looked neat. A big, elegant ribbon with laces. I made it pink and white because it's very cute. It's noted that Chris is the only one that can wear the gloves, so their actual gauntlets get cleanly swapped out. I activate polymerization! Allow me to fuse my 2 amber cards together to form a silver card! The silver card is shockingly an amber card, but silver. Instead of having a more generic, cute symbols like with the amber card, however, we have these cool little symbols that represent money in some way. Susie has the actual money symbol. Noelle, gamer-pilled as she be, has a gold coin. Ralse has the numbers on the back of your mom's credit card, and Chris has a barcode. For some reason, a set of wires and an iron chain becomes Velcro. Like, I was staring at the wiki whenever I saw this, and I was like, that seems kind of silly. That can't be right. And then I looked at it, and it's just like, it's a spike-covered thing that tends to stick to itself, and it's like, yeah, that sounds like Velcro. It's like, how do wires and a chain become okay, you know what? Whatever. Sure. All right. Fine. We can have the spikes look more like these cold, edgy gloves, I guess. This one didn't make a lick of sense to me until Chapter 4 revealed that the tension bits, one of the 2 items needed to create this, was one of those orange hard candies. Oh, those hard candies like come in wrappers that look like bow ties. That's cute. So it's one of those scaled up and worn like the other 2 bow ties. Let's make this part quick. Mouse token was gonna be a Chuck E. Cheese token in the style of Five Nights at Freddy, but then my roommate drew this dick rat and I thought it was funny. Gold band is black metal with a golden sheen, so guess what? It looks like a bracelet with a yellow stripe. Woo! Sky mantle is just a shadow mantle with an inverted color palette. Whoa! Since Noelle can't wear the shadow mantle, she can't wear this either. I don't know if that's applicable in game, but spike shackle is a shackle with spikes. What do you mean you can't see it on Susie? It's that one. No, not that one. Not that one either. No, wrong again. How did you get it wrong 4 times in a row? Dumbass. And I think that's the end of our armor list. I don't know if you could tell, but I wasn't like, there's not a whole lot of analysis here. There's something to be said about the, like, ribbons being the trans colors and, like, the trans dress that Ralse also thinks is cute and, like, stuff like that. But honestly, a lot of that analysis is not mine to make. I am cis. If you want a deeper dive into that specific aspect, then I would suggest watching this video by Stuffed Alpaca. It's really good. Otherwise, in terms of like actual analysis, there's not a lot here with the items, at least in my opinion. A lot of them are just like simple items or like joke pieces and stuff like that, or like their references to like various things. There's not a whole lot to gain in terms of analysis in the same way that you could from the weapons, because the weapons are like their individual character base, you know? You can get a lot from those. Not to like downplay how cool a lot of the armors are. I do like how a lot of these turned out. It's just there's not a lot of analysis there. So I'm sorry if it kind of seems like we rushed through it. It's that's just kind of how things went. So Here's a list of every armor in Deltarune and what stats they increase. I was going to go through a lot of their effects, but to be perfectly honest, most of them don't actually change anything even slightly worthwhile. Yes, Blue Ribbon, you increase the potency of healing items and spells. That's not that useful when you only increase your defense by 1. I wonder where that extra health is going. Inevitably, I ended up striking out any item on the list that had a base stat total of less than 5. With the one exception of the Tenet tie, since that item only has a BST of 3 because it debuffs magic. However, one member of our crew actually doesn't benefit from magic at all, Chris. So as long as it stays on Chris, it actually stays as one of the best armors in the game. The only other exception is the Shadow Mantle, which stats actually remain the chapter number. Like, it increases your defense directly corresponding to what chapter you're on. So it's 3 for 3, 4 for 4, and presumably so on. It also has a 66% reduction in quote-unquote Dark Star attacks, which basically just means the Knight and the Titan are chumps with the Shadow Mantle. The only reason you shouldn't keep that shit on Chris during the night fight is because they're actively throwing. Since Ralsei has such low health that even with 2 Shadow Mantles, he still gets one shot, that means Susie is basically the one who should be wearing it, at least during that fight. But in terms of general min-maxing, Susie is actually the one character who really benefits from all 3 stats being buffed, considering her party role and her more active learning of like various magic attacks. She's the only member of the party you really want to be attacking with most of the time, unless you're just like trying to rack up damage with everybody. And then she has like her actual damaging attack and her actual healing items. So she benefits the most from all 3 being buffed. There's only 2 items in the game that fit that bill, that being the Devil's Tail, which increases all 3 stats by 2. Oh wow, the Susie item benefits Susie, whoa. And the Gold Widow, which increases your defense by 5 and your other 2 stats by 1. This keeps her BST insanely high. Finally, Ralsei, as our resident healer, benefits the most from high magic. And as mentioned, he's squishy as hell, which means he also needs high defense. Oh boy. Luckily, that opens the door for the best item in the entire game for some reason, and also Ralsei's own corresponding super boss item, the Dealmaker. Stat-wise, the Dealmaker has a BST of 10. The second best item is the Gold Widow, which, need I remind you, you have to donate 9,999 gold in order to obtain, and that only has a BST of 7. That's crazy. He also gets the third best item in the game, the Princess Ribbon, to buff his defense just a little more. But if you want to go all in on a healing build, the Mystic Band is probably your best bet. This is on like a perfect run. Keep in mind, Gold Widow is right there. So I would not suggest trying to go for this build in an actual run. It's just for fun. That did go a bit faster than last time. I wonder if... Yeah, what the heck, I pulled this bit already. Let's do Undertale. Frisk's starting armor is the bandage, which, as I mentioned before with Chris, is taped across their nose. Apparently, it's very gross. The patient armor is the faded ribbon, which says if you're cuter, monsters won't hit you as hard. Flawless logic. How did that work out for you? The bandana is pink with the tough gloves and is drawn on abs because that's what the text box says, man. For my armors that had like the wearable weapons, I went ahead and threw those on Frisk here too. Speaking of which, the old tutu is in fact an old tutu. It's mentioned by Papyrus to look dusty, which that implies some things. The cloudy glasses are purple like I've drawn them before to match the torn notebook. If you want to see more of these designs in detail and even how I designed the fallen humans, I did like a full video about that. That's kind of why we're blitzing through these. I've seen the headcanon that these are like secret glasses that allows you to like read the torn notebook, which has like spells in them or something. I just think they're neat. The stained apron is found in Hotland, and since I've drawn Kindness Sunny to be a little older before, I made the apron very big on Frisk here. It's very stained, probably with blood, because remember, these are the armors of kids who were murdered by the most divorced guy in history. I love you, Asgore. I really hope Chapter 5 does you some justice. The cowboy hat, get out of here, Clover, I did a whole segment for you in the last video, is in fact a cowboy hat. It looks nice and is battle worn, probably because this kid went through some shit. The heart locket is the second item today that's been recreated in real life. just not in the Spanton sweepstakes, but in the Undertale Collector's Edition. I actually have this one myself, and it's very pretty. It should probably be smaller than this, though. It's pretty big for a locket. Very pretty, though. And considering it plays his themes as Best Friends Forever, and Asriel also wears a locket in his Hyper Death form, it's probably the closest thing to Kara's heart, making it the best armor in the game. And that's all of the armors in Undertale. This was a lot of... oh shit, right. So in Undertale, each item is either just found on like the ground or is like bought from a shop, with one major exception. In Temmie Village, you can go ahead and pay for Tim's Kuleg in order to get a new item at an absurdly high price. The Temmie armor. The Temmie armor for, once again, 9,999 G. However, each time you die, the price drops just a little more. Tem is a merciful god. If you die 25 times, it's actually a decently reasonable price of 750 G. It's got this crazy myriad of stats, making it the real, actual best armor in the game. We also have no idea how this thing looks. Descriptions provide no help, so I went goofy with it. A set of actual real-ass armor with Frisk barely fitting inside. It also has templates, like, stuck to the side in case Frisk gets hungry. So I guess if you want to min-max Frisk, you get the Temmie armor and the Worn Dagger. Yeah, that's it. If you enjoyed, subscribe, please. Bye! Wait, how do I get out of here?
It's my ass-kicking outfit, bitch!